a climate-controlled underground facility, an unbelievable 53 miles of shelving, containing some of the oldest known books in existence, many of which haven't been seen in ages, and only a select few are ever allowed inside. The Vatican Secret Archives. It's one of the most tightly guarded and speculated about locations in the world. We're talking works that could change everything we know about religion and the origins of humanity itself.
There are an awful lot of books that certainly researchers like me would give my eye teeth to see, hidden somewhere in the Vatican.
Vaults, books and papers that they consider simply too dangerous to be released to the rest of the world.
Relics, devices, things that would cause history to be rewritten.
What is the Vatican hiding? It's time to unlock the secrets of the Vatican Archives. Vatican City, a 121-acre independent city-state nestled inside Rome. St. Peter's Square is alive with the usual bustle of tourists, souvenir merchants, and famous Swiss guards. But beneath their feet, in heavily guarded vaults, is the world's most mysterious collection of ancient books, scrolls, and text that some say could challenge our understanding of human history and even the foundations of the Church itself. They call it the Vatican Archives, but until recently it was known as the Vatican Secret Archives. And for good reason. The archives are off limits to all but carefully selected scholars, and even they must know precisely the work they want to view. No browsing is allowed, so no one really knows what the archives hold, except of course the Vatican itself.
I've been asked what's in the secret Vatican archives, and I must say I don't know, because they're secret, and they have been secret for so many centuries.
You can't enter with a jacket. You can't enter with an attaché case. You can't even carry a fountain pen. The only thing you can take with you is a graphite pencil and a notepad. When you enter the archives, a cleric will present exactly the document that you've requested. If they've agreed to give you that document, the cleric will remain with you while you study that document. There will be porters and guards behind you. So it would be absolutely impossible to take anything out of that room. Even if you were Harry Houdini, you just can't do it.
Can you tell us who is allowed to enter and read these archives?
The archives are now under the care of a man called the Bibliothecarius, the papal librarian, or the Vatican librarian. And it's a position similar to the Librarian of Congress. It's a very honorific job, and it's an onerous job. He actually must sign permission for you to enter the secret archives. And in order to get that permission, you have to have a qualification, of course. You have to be a historian or a researcher on an authorized mission. And you have to know definitively what you want to get, because there's so much there. And you must know what you're looking for. But it's a difficult thing to get just right off. You can't get it by simply showing up one day and saying, I'm so-and-so, I'm Malachi Martin, I want to enter the secret archives. No.
Do you know there are 7 miles beneath the surface of Rome?
7 miles?
Secret archives. And you enter this thing, and when you enter it, the light goes on, and as you move through it down along the passageways, the light behind you goes off and the light ahead of you goes on.
Oh,
it's a fantastic thing. It is a fantastic affair.
On October 10th, 2019, Pope Francis, in a move aimed towards modernization and transparency, officially changed the name of the Vatican Archives to remove the word secret. The change was really a PR move to make the organization appear more transparent, but the truth is, for all practical purposes, they remain secret. But why all the secrecy, and what is the Holy See hiding inside this heavily guarded underground complex? One of the most common and controversial theories is that the Vatican is concealing early writings that could shake the foundations of the church itself. Works such as the Gnostic Gospels and others which were not included in the Bible. It is understandable that the Catholic Church would go out of their way to obtain any documents or evidence that might run counter to the official church narrative, simply to ensure they were kept far from public sight.
Archives, because the church dozens and dozens of other gospels, for example, that weren't included in the New Testament, that has stuff in them that would seriously undermine the church if people knew about it. So presumably there are an awful lot of books that certainly researchers like me would give my eye teeth to see, hidden somewhere in the Vatican.
I think that it's beyond a shadow of a doubt that the Vatican has hidden within its secret vaults books and papers that they consider simply too dangerous to be released to the rest of the world. We have some good examples of the type of material that the Vatican probably considers too dangerous. Books such as the Gnostic Gospels, which have come down to us from different sources. This is the type of stuff that the Vatican has got hidden away in its secret archives. The Church probably also has in its secret archives evidence that shows that the Bible has come down to us from various pagan sources that were written centuries before historical biblical times. This could mean that Jesus was a fictional character, and that the original writers of the Gospels were using older pagan sources to put their views across against the Jewish hierarchy and the Roman occupation.
Manuscripts and relics and items from either campaigns or crusades, not only for their own research and to support their ideas, but also to prevent anything coming out, because they need to control the information around biblical issues. And they've got 52 miles of shelving of books and manuscripts alone. So that will be everything from early first century fragments to potentially entire alternative gospels.
But what about the works of early pagan civilizations and primitive cultures encountered by church missionaries while trying to convert the world? In some cases, the priests, shamans, and mystics encountered by Catholic missionaries had advanced knowledge of topics such as plant medicines, astronomy, and human consciousness. However, some argue that rather than destroyed, these teachings were secreted back to the Vatican to be studied by papal scholars. If so, might they still be found somewhere deep inside the Vatican archives?
And they nicked all of the ideas, that all of the pagan sites, and nicked all of the religious relics and things that were inside. And I would imagine they're probably still tucked away somewhere underneath the Vatican.
Perhaps the most intriguing theory about what might be inside the secret archives involves the legendary Library of Alexandria. The library was destroyed by invading Muslim armies. However, much of it had already been sacked and looted by the Romans during the 4th century, and it is believed by many that esoteric books that were not destroyed were brought back to Rome, where they still reside today, inside the climate-controlled vaults of the Vatican Archives.
And the third one would be the Vatican, because I think they probably have a lot of secret things. I have heard that they have books and things that came from like that library in Alexandria, you know, different places that were destroyed, that there were things that were saved by different people and were taken back and kept locked away in the Vatican. I have heard that.
The Library of Alexandria collected books from every corner of the known world, including Babylon. Some say the knowledge documented here contained answers to questions about human origins, Atlantis, and more.
The library in Alexandria was really unique in an important way. It was eclectic. They wanted everything. It wasn't just Greek culture that they were collecting. They wanted Babylonian texts, they wanted Turkish texts, they wanted everything they could get. They wanted the Hebrew Bible.
In the book The Biggest Secret, David Icke mentions that a source with close connections to the Vatican described how during a guided tour of the archives, he witnessed a vacuum-sealed vault containing thousands and thousands of ancient scrolls and books. It is interesting to note that the infamous Illuminati card game by Steve Jackson contains a Library of Alexandria card, which reads, "Sure, they burned down the building, but the books were already checked out." But might the secret archives be hiding more than just old books and scrolls? Many historians and researchers believe the Church is concealing the existence of various biblical relics, such as the Holy Grail, the Ark of the Covenant, and more in the secret archives, either the relics themselves or documentation on their whereabouts.
It is more than possible that there are so-called relics within the Vatican. I mean, most big Catholic churches throughout Christendom have always had relics, so why wouldn't the Vatican have them? Perhaps mummified bodies even of great church fathers. It is rumoured that they have the mysterious veil of Veronica hidden in one of the great pillars under the Vatican.
The heretical pieces of art, music, documents, that's the boring stuff. The real biggies, the real secrets, those are relics, devices, things that would cause history to be rewritten.
It is one of the most diabolical books ever written. An occult manuscript like no other, and the Vatican claims official possession of it. It's called the Grand Grimoire, also known as the Red Dragon Grimoire, or the Gospel of Satan. Written in either ancient Hebrew or Aramaic, it is the ultimate occult book, including spells for necromancy, summoning, and even a ritual for conjuring Lucifer himself. The book was discovered in the tomb of King Solomon in 1750, and is believed to have been written by Honorius of Thebes, who, according to legend, was possessed. The book itself is dated to 1522, but many researchers believe it to be a copy of an even earlier text. Some claim this mysterious book is even impervious to destruction via fire or any other means. How much of the legend surrounding this book is based on reality, we may never know, as the Church has never let anyone take a glimpse of it. Today, it remains locked deep inside the vaults of the Vatican Archives, and in this case, maybe that's a good thing. But a little-known secret is that while the archives are off limits to pretty much everyone, the elite are an exception. Billionaires and celebrities pay big bucks for private visits to the Vatican, including exclusive tours, museums, and yes, even the archives. Billionaires are allowed to visit the archives and even purchase a one-of-a-kind copy of the document for over $100,000. One wonders what the elite get up to in these holy places under the cover of privacy. They can rename it anything they like. The truth is, those archives remain as secret as ever, and the true contents are fully known only to Vatican officials themselves. And something tells me that's exactly the way they want it.
Until the time comes when the Church makes the secret archives available to any scholar who wants to read them, we'll never know what kind of material they have contained within the walls of the Vatican.
And that is unlikely to change soon. But for researchers and theorists, that won't stop the rumors, theories, and speculation about the true contents of the archives. Imagine the advancements in science and human understanding we might achieve if the Vatican were to open these texts up to the world.